Popcorn Optimist.
Welcome to Popcorn Optimist, a film appreciation YouTube channel that believes the more context we have, the more likely we are to appreciate films. This is the second episode in a new weekly series about the week's new releases, and it's called... Think of Cinebills as non-spoiler contextual previews. When we go to the theater, we get helpful contextual information in the form of programs or playbills. We don't get those at the movies, and that's what this is. This is our Cinebill for... Starting with the official synopsis from 20th Century Studios, while scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. The film is rated R, it runs 119 minutes, the official release date is August 16th, 2024, and it is being distributed by 20th Century Studios. Moving on to the cast, starting with the film's star, Kaylee Spaney as the awesomely named Rain Carradine. Spaney known for playing Priscilla in Sofia Coppola's Priscilla, as well as this year's Civil War, directed by Alex Garland. The cast also includes David Johnson, currently starring in HBO's Industry and the British film Rye Lane, directed by Rain Allen Miller. Isabella Merced, known for playing Dora the Explorer in Dora and the Lost City of Gold, directed by James Bobin, and the upcoming Superman, directed by James Gunn. Archie renowned for his performance in Netflix's Shadow and Bone. Spike Fern, known for Back to Black, directed by Sam Taylor Johnson. And Eileen Wu, this is Eileen's first feature film, Go Eileen! The film was directed by Fede Álvarez, more on him later. It was written by Fede Álvarez and Rodo Sayeg's, more on him later. Edited by Jake Roberts. Roberts has worked quite a bit with director Alex Garland in recent years on projects like Civil War, Men, and the FX series Devs. Cinematography by Galo Olivares, known for the 2020 film Gretel and Hansel, directed by Osgood Perkins. And music by Benjamin Wallfish, seen here, knowing where your keys are but refusing to tell you. Composer for director Andy Muschietti's It and It Chapter 2, and co-composed Blade Runner 2049 with Hans Zimmer. Finally, notes and harkens. Harkens is a term that we'll come back to a little bit later. Starting with director Fede Álvarez, born in Montevideo, Uruguay. Álvarez came on the scene with a 4-minute and 48-second $300 short film called Panic Attack. The film was released on YouTube after premiering at Buenos Aires Rojo Sangre Film Festival, and after much fanfare, ultimately earned Álvarez a $30 million development and directing deal. You can still watch that short on YouTube, by the way. That development deal ultimately became 2013's remake of Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead, titled Evil Dead. Álvarez's second feature, Don't Breathe, featuring Stephen Lang and Jane Levy, was a sleeper hit for Sony Pictures. They eventually produced a sequel in 2021. Álvarez also has an Apple TV series named Calls, an animated mystery series told through several phone calls. And Rodo Sayeg's, co-writer of Alien Romulus, has worked on all of the previously mentioned projects with Álvarez, and even directed the 2021 sequel for Don't Breathe called Don't Breathe 2. In 2022, Álvarez was hired to write and direct the new Alien film after pitching a story unconnected to the other Alien films. Those films include, but are not limited to, Alien, directed by Ridley Scott, and Aliens, directed by James Cameron. Hallmarks of the Alien films include a main female protagonist, an android character, a new creature, and often a new tone. Álvarez took a back-to-basics approach, explaining to Rue Morgue,
I was desperate to see Alien be in a horror movie again. Everybody wants to see the highbrow side of things, but it's a horror movie above all things.
Álvarez is known for having a somewhat brutal style when it comes to horror. This is Álvarez speaking to Collider.
We show a few times what the xenomorph does to people when it actually gets to you and you keep rolling.
The film takes place between Alien and Aliens, making it an interquel, a term that I just learned and will be using far too much. Álvarez and crew have aimed for scope with this film, even shooting in IMAX. Álvarez again speaking to Collider.
For the IMAX version, we went the full aperture. We shot it in cameras that were IMAX certified, and they were almost 4:3. You know, when you have a lot of top and a lot of bottom.
Álvarez highlighted the fun of building sets and using practical effects, including puppets, and shooting in order for the cast. This is Álvarez speaking to the Movie Podcast.
You gotta channel your inner kid and do it the way, bring some toys, get the camera, just look at something that is actually in front of you, shoot it, and tell the story, and always in order. What would you shoot the ending first? And then show it like this is what happened. This is the adventure we went through.
Harkens. Harkens is a term that my wife really likes, meaning this film harkens back to an older film. That's not really how the word is used, but my wife really likes it, so this is where we are. We'll mention Alien, directed by Ridley Scott, and Aliens, directed by James Cameron. We'll also mention Prey, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, another back-to-basics approach for another alien horror series, and it rips. And we'll also mention The Thing from Another World, directed by Christian Nyby and produced by Howard Hawks. It's the first adaptation of Who Goes There prior to John Carpenter's The Thing, and it's great. I'll leave things with this quote from Álvarez speaking to Remezcla. "It's always been my favorite sci-fi movie, almost more than all the others. And obviously, because it has that horror element that makes it so unique, it always felt to me like the horror Star Wars for me. That's how I always felt." How much of any of this you actually need to know to enjoy the movie? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. But I hope this information was fun to learn, and I hope it helps raise your appreciation for when you see the film. Join us next week. Our Cinebill will be for Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut, Blink Twice. Popcorn Optimist.